Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Danielle and I'm the owner of Dan Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo Glitter. If you guys are new to my channel, I do want to let you know that all of my groups and links are posted in the description below in case you guys want to check those out. Today's tutorial is day 2 of our 12 Days of Christmas tutorials. If y'all didn't know, each tutorial has a giveaway associated with it. You can find all of the details in my tutorial group on Facebook. So if y'all are not a part of that, go join so you have a chance to win the giveaway. Each giveaway is based off of the day's tutorial. So pay attention when you watch the tutorial so you have a chance to win. In today's tutorial, we're going to cover everything you see listed here, but as always, if y'all have questions about materials or steps that I covered, please feel free to ask in the comment section and I will come back and answer them. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get started on this tutorial and I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys didn't know, I will be teaching a 2-day class at next year's TUMBLERCON. I am so excited to meet you guys in person. If y'all want to check out the details, there is a link in the description as well as a coupon code for our class. I hope to see you there. Okay guys, so before we actually get started on our cup, we're going to be removing the bottom of our tumbler. If you guys didn't know, the majority of the Steel Magnolia's tumblers have a little cap covering the bottom that you can easily remove. I just use a metal putty knife, hammer it down in between the crack and pop the bottom cap off. This does not affect the integrity of the tumbler, but this gives you the ability to do different things with the bottom, such as glitter butts, rhinestoning, snow globe, or shaker bottoms. Once we have our bottoms popped off, we're going to spray paint our cup white. I like to use a flat white by Rust-Oleum. And then we're going to wrap it with vinyl. I am measuring how far down I want my vinyl to go. I wanted it a little bit more than halfway. I believe I'm using a 30-ounce plump. These are from the Steel Magnolias. I do have a discount code in the description below in case you guys have not tried their cups but want to. We're going to take this awesome tool from Cami Page Boutique. We also have a discount code in the description for her items. This tool is awesome at getting your vinyl straight. You can put a pencil in this little pencil holder, tighten it up, and we're going to set our tumbler on the base of our Ultimate Guide tool. And we're just going to draw a line down the cup. I just use a pencil because if you need to erase it, you can. It's easy to paint over. We're going to cut off a little piece of this vinyl and we're going to line up our vinyl with that line that we just drew. And we're going to wrap it around our cup just to make sure that we got everything straight. I think my vinyl was just a little bit off. Now it is pretty good. So we're going to flip it over and we're going to start removing the backing as we are smoothing down this vinyl. This vinyl was one of my favorites that I created for Christmas. It's so fun. I love leopard prints and the little Christmas trees were super cute. So we're just smoothing it down, making sure we're getting all the bubbles and creases out of it. And then we're going to trim off that excess. It doesn't matter if it's straight right now. We're going to straighten up that line in just a second. So I am just smoothing it down, making sure everything is good. Next, I am going to take my blade and I'm going to cut this excess vinyl off. I personally like to use painter's tape just to make sure that this line is super straight. And we're just carefully cutting along that paint line. And then we're going to remove that excess vinyl. And sometimes you can't match up seams, but I do try to camouflage them sometimes. I will show you guys how I do that. This one was super simple to do because it was just black leopard print and some Christmas trees. So I am just taking a black paint marker and I am just connecting these black spots, just kind of changing the shape of the leopard print. That way the seam is not going to be as visible. This is something that I have always done if I can. Sometimes I will take inks if I'm using a watercolored pattern and just paint the inks on there to match the vinyl that is there. Sometimes you can't disguise it, but if you can, I definitely try to do that. I'm just kind of drawing the little Christmas tree points. So that way when you look at the tumbler, you're not really going to be able to see the seam that well. And our decal is going to go in this area as well. So we're disguising the seam and then we're going to put our decal there. So you shouldn't be able to see it very much. So next we're going to take our edging tool, also from Cami Page Boutique. If y'all do not know Brooke, she is super sweet. She makes amazing tumbler tools. This blade was up a little bit further than I wanted, so I'm just putting it back down in the first little slot. So the tools that I have that I'm using in this video are the Ultimate Tumbler Guide tool and the edging tool. I definitely recommend both of those if y'all don't have them. So we are just putting that blade right up against the cup and spinning our cup, and then it cuts that vinyl perfectly so we get a nice rim. So once we are done with that part, we are going to start adding our glitter lines. And I am just going to tape off the lines with my painter's tape. And these are going to be our green glittered lines. And you can definitely use the Tumbler Guide tool if you want to make sure your lines are super straight. I typically just eyeball most of mine. So I am going to use Emerald City Green, and I'm going to apply it using Artistry's ColorFix paints. I love their ColorFix paints. They are a paint, primer, and glue all in one. You do have to shake them up really well just to make sure that that glue is incorporated well. But their glitter glue is the best I've tried. So now that they have a paint mixed in with that glue is even better. And I am using green just to give the base a little bit more coverage, just in case there are any bare spots. So we're just painting that green on. We're definitely going to get the bottom rim. And I would typically wait for this to dry, which I should, but for filming sakes, we're just going to go ahead and apply our second coat. And then sprinkle on that glitter. Then we're going to move on to the next stripe. And I believe this green I'm using is called Rainforest. I don't typically use a lot of green, so I did not have a darker color, which I should just keep them on hand just in case I need them. But the discount code that we have for Artistry will also work for their paints. And then we're going to sprinkle on this glitter. Definitely get the bottom rim. I just like to kind of dip it in the glitter. And then we're just going to pour the glitter over the rest just to get any spots that may have been soaked up. And then we're going to peel that tape off. And of course it peeled up my vinyl because I was not being careful. I thought this green went perfect with the Christmas trees that were on here. Now we're going to pour this green back in here before I spill it everywhere. So next we're going to do the gold lines. We're going to use Sparkling Sage for this. I did take a little Q-tip with water and just kind of clean up any paint lines that may have bled underneath the tape. There were a couple of them. I did not press the tape down really well, which I probably should have, but they came up super easy with the Q-tip and just regular water. And then I got paint on the rest of the tumbler somehow. I don't even know, guys. So I was just cleaning that up. I don't know if I had it on my hand or what. And I did notice a little spot that had regular paint showing through, so I just sprinkled a little bit more glitter on there. And then we were ready to move on to our next step. So instead of applying this with a paint or adhesive, I am just using double-sided tape. This is what I used on my serape cups in the past. It is by 3M. It is the best double-sided tape I have found. When you are using this tape, it is best to use a metallic glitter and not something that is iridescent, because the iridescent is not going to cover as well. We know that when we put iridescent glitters on a white base, it's going to appear lighter. So if you want good coverage, definitely use metallic. So I'm just wrapping this around. I am pulling up a little bit of the tape, smoothing down the second line and applying that back over so that when you remove the tape, it will come off in one piece. And I am just applying these randomly on the cup. And yes, I am just eyeballing it again. I am not somebody that likes math or likes things super perfect. So if you are OCD and have to have things perfect, definitely just break out your measuring tape, see where you need to apply those lines. So I'm going to do one more. And once we have all of our pinstripes on there, we are going to remove all of the tape backing so that it reveals the sticky side. And then we're just going to sprinkle on the glitter. As long as your glitter glue or your ColorFix paint is dry, you should not get any contamination with the green that we sprinkled earlier. And with my double-sided tape, I like to kind of smooth or press the glitter into the tape. That way I know that there's good adhesion. And I'm just kind of brushing this off so y'all can see what it looks like. Once I'm sure that this ColorFix paint is completely dry, I will brush off the excess really good, spray seal it with Rust-Oleum 2 times, and then we will be ready to apply our epoxy. And I'm just showing you guys how I epoxy both of these cups. I get asked all the time to show how I epoxy, so I am just letting you guys watch me epoxy. When I do the bottoms of my cups, I just do a very, very thin coat. I just want that glitter covered. I don't want globs of epoxy down there. I probably use about 20-25 mils of epoxy to cover the 30 ounces. And once I have my epoxy on, I typically will wipe from bottom to top just to smooth out the epoxy, make sure that everything is covered, make sure there are no globs of epoxy on my tumbler. And then I will grab my torch and I will pop all of the bubbles. I typically let it spin for one full rotation, which for me, I know that if I count to 14, then my turner will do one full rotation. So I usually just count to 14 and I know I am good. And once that layer of epoxy has cured, I will sand my rims. I will sand any glitter grains that I feel, and then we will be ready to decal. I will link where I got this decal. This was not one that I made, but I will post it in the description. I always like to use my transfer tape with lines. And I'm just going to match it up on the green. This one stuck a little too soon, so I tried to peel it off. It's never fun when that happens, when you try to like line it up and then static like makes the bottom decal stick to the top one and you're not ready for it, but it was okay. And I did not like how the stars cut out on the decal. They were just super thin. I did not like them. So I just peeled them off, and I'm just going to go back and add them with paint pens. This little C and Y were a little crooked, so I just fixed them with my tweezers. Then we're going to peel everything off. I cut this green a little too deep, I think. I had not used this vinyl before. It was a new one that my local supplier had. If you guys live in Georgia, definitely check out PerfecPress HTV. They are in Norcross, Georgia. But this was kind of a fun, kind of, I don't even know what you would call it. It was just a green one they had that I liked. And we are going to take the Ultimate Tumbler Guide tool. This is her little decal tool. You can line up your decal with this little straight edge so that you know that your decal is straight. So once you are sure that it is straight, you can just smooth the rest of the decal down. And then peel it off. So now we're going to pinstripe. If you guys have watched my videos before, y'all know I cut sheets of pinstripes at a time. I do this just so I don't have to cut 1 or 2 pinstripes at a time. I can cut a full 12 by 12 sheet of vinyl of pinstripes and not have to worry about it for a couple months. I will typically cut my decals or my pinstripes in sizes 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. That way I have different sizes to choose from and I can layer them if I want to. I typically do layer them, but for today I just decided to outline all of my glitter stripes with the pinstripes, and I was happy with how that looked, so I did not go back and layer any of them. And I am just picking different sizes. I cut 3 different sizes, but I don't know exactly which ones I'm using here. The black is probably 0.05. The gold is probably 0.07. So I am just kind of switching up the colors. I'm just wrapping them around, just going right along the glitter edge. And once I'm done wrapping these pinstripes, we are going to add 2 more layers of epoxy. If you want to seal your pinstripes, you can definitely do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It really just depends on how confident I feel that the pinstripes are going to lay flat. If I feel like they may lift, then I will seal them. Typically with plain sticky vinyl like black or white, they're not going to lift, but sometimes the metallic or opal vinyls will lift. I don't think I sealed this particular tumbler, but I did let the vinyl sit overnight before I epoxied it, so that probably gave it a little more of a chance to adhere to the tumbler better. And once your final layer of epoxy has cured, we will be ready to do our glitter bottom. This is always the last thing that I do, but I loved how this cup turned out. I think it was super fun, super cute. I did end up mixing a little bit of glitter into my epoxy just because I felt like it needed a little bit more sparkle. And for our glitter bottoms, I will typically mix up about 15 mils of epoxy. I usually use about 5 mils for the smaller external cavity and about 10 for the larger interior cavity. And I'm just going to mix this until it is combined. If I'm using similar colors, I will typically just mix in the same cup. I will start with my lighter one. So this is Sparkling Sage, the same color we used on the cup for the gold. And we are just going to slowly fill that tiny little cavity. You do have to be very careful at this part. You don't want to drip epoxy on your actual tumbler, and I try not to get it in the interior cavity just so the glitter doesn't mix. And once we fill the exterior cavity, I'm just going to add a little green glitter to the same glitter mixture. That way it'll be a mix of green and gold. Still Christmassy, still fun. And we're going to pour this in the center cavity. And once this layer of epoxy has cured, I'm going to go back and add a clear layer of epoxy over the entire bottom, and this way the very bottom of our tumbler is still going to have that nice shiny slick feel that the rest of our tumbler has. And once that clear layer of epoxy has cured, you will be done with your tumbler. And that is basically it. So here are some finished pictures of this cup. I really love how it turned out. It is such a simple but classy Christmas cup that you can easily put together. I just love the green, gold, and white color combos. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If y'all enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my tutorial group or my mentorship group. Both are linked in the description. Thanks for watching.